Hey guys, good morning. It's Pastor Andy here. Just really excited to be able to come and talk to you for just a few minutes this morning. And so I want to start off by asking you a question. How are you doing today? I mean, how are you doing really? As we move into this next phase of reopening our country and getting back to what we know is going to be a new normal, how do you feel about that? Are you relieved? Are you excited? Maybe a little apprehensive? Or are you a worrier? See, if you're a worrier, I got some great news for you right now that you have so many options. This week while I was preparing for this talk, I searched Amazon for worry books. And believe it or not, I found over 20,000 books on Amazon that I could order. So there's all kinds of stuff that you can to help you worry. And then I actually Googled articles on worry, and I was shocked. You ready for this? Articles on worry generated 617 million results in less than a half a second. 617 million hits, articles on worries in less than a half a second. So you could spend the rest of your life worrying about reading articles on worry. So what is worry? Worry is essentially a preoccupation with tomorrow. That's what it is. Worry is I'm okay right this minute, but it's the future minutes I'm not so sure about. So somehow we have this preoccupation when we worry that we want to control or find certainty in tomorrow. But we really, and for the most part, don't worry about this minute. It's true that you worry about the next minute, right? It's all about the future. So here's a truth I'm going to share with you, a truth that some of you may not want to hear. And that's that, listen to me now, you have never, at any point in your life, in any area of your life, have you ever been able to control the future? There's never been absolute certainty in your life about the future, about anything. But at different times in our lives or different facets of our lives, we're reminded of how uncertain things are, and that's when we start to really worry. So worry is about, in this moment, worrying about the next moment to somehow try to capture maybe the attention of God or somehow harness some power where there's certainty about tomorrow. So I want to read just a few verses from Matthew 6, verses 27 through 30. And verse 27, Jesus says, "Can any one of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your life?" 28, "And why do you worry about clothes? See how the flowers of the field grow? They do not labor or spin. Yet I tell you that not even Solomon in all his splendor was dressed like one of these." Verse 30, "If that is how God clothes the grass of the field, which is here today and thrown in the fire tomorrow, will he not much more clothe you, you of little faith?" We're going to talk about that. So I want to make three quick observations that I believe Jesus made. The three amazing points that I took out of these verses. And the first one is this. He said, you can't add anything to your life by worrying. No matter how good of a worrier you are, you might be like a professional worrier. People may come over, people may seek you out and say, "Help me worry, I'm not as good as you." Or your husband or wife may say, "You worry about everything." Maybe you worry about things that don't even concern you. You may be like the greatest worrier in the world. But Jesus said, you've never added anything to your life by worrying. You're not even able to add a minute, a second, or an hour to your life by worrying. You're not able to impact the things that are most important to you. So basically, it's a waste of your time to worry, which makes it a waste of a life, right? Because what we have in this life is time. So if we say we're wasting our time, we're wasting our lives. The other thing I believe that he says is this. By Jesus saying don't worry, I think he's telling us that doesn't mean don't care. Let me give you an example of that. One is let's say that I have an interview. And Jesus says don't worry. So maybe I could interpret that as don't care. But that's not what he's saying. So let's say I have this big interview and I'm not going to research or do anything or learn anything about the company. I'm not going to even bring a resume. I'm not going to be on time. I might not even take a shower because Jesus said, don't worry. So I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to care about it. See the difference there? So Jesus wasn't teaching us not to care, right? What he was telling us is that we can't add anything to our lives by worrying. So again, in verse 27, Jesus said, can any of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your life? And the answer is no. So here's where I want you to participate with me, all right? How many of you think that you've worried so much that you've taken hours off of your life? Think about that. I know some of you have. So for the sake of time, let's go to verse 30. Verse 30 says this, if that is how God clothes the grass of the field, which is here today, and tomorrow is thrown into the fire, will he not much more clothe you? So here's the question. Do you think God is in control? You'll probably say yes to that. Do you feel like God started this whole thing? Yeah. Do you think God's behind it all and keeps the planets and the world spinning as it should? Yeah, you probably believe all of that. So God's probably saying to us, okay, you believe all that? You've gotten that far along in your faith, then why would you fall short or stop short of the next step? And that's to trust me in everything. And this is where Jesus kind of takes the knife and twists it a little bit into us. And he ends this portion of Scripture, and he says, you of little faith. We need to think about that word, faith. So I want you to understand this. This is, if you don't hear anything else I've told you today, listen to this. There's a huge relationship between the size of your faith and the size of your worry. He says that the reason your worries are so big is because your faith is so little. Now, people with huge faith, they just don't worry much, do they? In fact, that may bother some of you. People have the same set of circumstances that you do, and yet they walk around not worried. And you may come on, you got to join us, man. You got to join us. We're the worry club. We're really worried. Why aren't you worried? What's wrong with you? And some of you have maybe had the privilege of interfacing with or having friends or living close or family who really, really don't worry. I happen to be one of those people, and it drives the people around me many times crazy. I say this often. Either God is or he isn't. God's either everything or he's nothing. You may look at people that don't worry and they don't seem to ever be afraid. And you meet those people and you think, I don't know how they handle this. I'm glad it's not me. You think, well, if that happened to me, I'd be a nervous wreck. Or, boy, if that happened to me, I'd drink too. Or man, I just don't think my family could survive that. Or maybe some of you think, I don't even know how I'd get out of bed if I was going through that. But these people, maybe that they don't just seem fine, but they're just not worried. So what is that? You've just met somebody with big faith. Because the bigger your faith is, the smaller your worry is. You see, when worries start to accumulate, your small, how will this affect me faith deteriorates right along with it. I want to say that one more time. When worries start to accumulate, your small, how will this affect me faith deteriorates right along with it. Guys, we serve a big God. We've got to take these, we've got to learn how to give these things to God. We've got to turn it over. That's all the time I've got this morning, guys. But know this. You're loved, and I can't wait to see you soon. With that being said, I got one more announcement for you. You were sent a survey this week from Pastor Jack. And Pastor Jack sent it out via email. Now, if you didn't get it, don't worry. If you didn't get it, that means that you're not in the database or that we don't have good information from you. So what you need to do is if you got it, fill it out. It'll take you less than 2 minutes. If you didn't get it, then the other option is you need to send your contact information to Pastor Bonnie. And Bonnie's email is bonnie@highpointlw.com. Send her your email address, your phone numbers, your address, all that kind of stuff so that we can communicate with you about the important things that are going on here. Because the survey is important about when we're going to go back and launch our live services. Guys, again, you're loved. Have a great week. I'll see you soon.